We can think of this as, all right, it's 50-50. Could either go to heaven or go to hell. Not in the sense of a coin flip, but to ask yourself, how do I end up on the 50% scale that go to eternal life? I say that not in a way where you can earn salvation, because we can't. It is a pure gift. And if you are baptized, it's something that you've already received. You've already received the promise of eternal life. But a common mistake can be like, great, then I don't have to worry about anything. I can just do whatever I want. But what we have here in this gospel, and we most likely heard it many times, we tend to concentrate on, oh, am I giving somebody food, drink, water, shelter, whatever they need? We tend to think of, oh, those are, somebody else. I'm called to go help them. That's true. But a lot of times in the gospel, the concentration can be on that. But today we're celebrating all souls. But because it's all souls, I want to concentrate on this first part of the gospel. He says that he will come in his glory with all the angels with him. Now, there are most likely billions, maybe even trillions of angels. If he were to come back in glory and all the angels were to manifest in a way that we can see them, it would cover every inch of what we can see. It would be a magnificent sight, a sight that for some will bring about hope and wonder and excitement and joy. For others, it will bring about terror and fear. And it will do so because it says after that, he will sit upon his glorious throne. All the nations will be assembled before him, and he will separate them from one another, as he separates the sheep from the goats. Now, according to Jewish tradition, there is a lot of separation. When someone is unclean, they're separated from the community. And there are things that they have to do to be welcomed back into the community. So there's this trope over the gospel, over the Old Testament, of this separation. And he's bringing this separation alive. And what he's trying to get at is, for us, this means that we are either sheep or we are goats. Not by birth, not by any exterior force that is outside of ourselves, but by the way we live our life. We either conform our life closer to the sheep, which sheep recognize the voice of their shepherd. They come close to him. They are cared for. Or goats who are separated, are pushed away. They are slaughtered. And so when we ask ourselves, how can we determine which one we are as we are progressing in life? Well, one common factor among those who are conforming themselves more into being on his left, in a sense, the goats, that doesn't mean the greatest of all time. Right? Just wanted to make that clear. It means that they are slowly separating themselves. The slow pulling away from the church's teachings, the pulling away from the faith that Jesus founded altogether, will gear one soul more towards being on his left. But how do we know which direction we're going in is really not too difficult if we really take the time to think about the fact that we're going to die. And that is one of the only guarantees we have in life, is that we will die. Some of us will die sooner than others, either from natural causes, from the weight and destruction of sin. And so as Christians, we have an obligation to really look at where we are, to take a little inventory. Now, what helps someone conform themselves to be in a position to be invited to sit at the right hand of the Father? To be a sheep is to recognize his voice, meaning that at some point we've grown in the ability within one's own prayer life to determine what is from the Lord, what is from the evil one. and what are our own thoughts. They have grown to a place of being able to discern the difference. The sheep are ones that have a regular prayer life, one that takes priority over anything else, over family, over work, over spouse. And if you have a spouse, then I would say the two also share in a prayer life together. But there is a proper order of priorities that takes place. Now, this doesn't happen overnight because it's not how conversion works. Yes, sometimes the Lord will gift those with sudden conversion, but in the ordinary work, He much prefers the slow turning of the heart because that is more likely to stick. That is more likely to hold. And so what you can do for yourself this week are two things. One, you can think about the reality that one day you're going to die. And what will that be like? Who will be at the funeral? Will you have a Catholic funeral? For those of you that are older and find yourself thinking about these things more often, do your children or grandchildren know what you want for the end of your life? Because true wisdom and conversion of heart comes from the meditating on death and also suffering. And so we all owe it to ourselves to spend some time every once in a while to remember that we too will die, but also to sit down and see where you are in your spiritual life. Do you have a regular pattern of prayer? If you do, what kind of prayer is it? Is it vocal prayer, meditative prayer, or contemplative prayer, as the Catechism talks about? If you're not sure which three, then I highly suggest going and looking it up. But let's say you take an inventory. Okay, I don't have a regular structured prayer life. I just kind of pray, whenever it comes to my heart. Okay. But you owe it to yourself to not be in that place a year from now. A year from now, you should be a little different in who you are and the disposition of your soul and your being than a year ago. It should be different. If you are the same today as you were last year, there's a risk in that. A risk in saying to the Lord, I don't really want to grow. And so I'm going to take my chances at that 50-50 coin flip. Because while it is not a coin flip, if we don't prepare, we're going to approach Him and there's going to be that interior hope of like, am I getting in? Am I not? Let's see what He says. No, nobody wants to approach the end of our life like that. I would hope not. But as this life we have been given to progress, and so there should be regular progression throughout one's life. So go home, take an inventory, see where you are, and then make an inventory of where you want to be 1 year from now. So if you don't have a regular time to pray, then one goal would be a year from now, hey, I'd like to pray 20 minutes each day, or maybe 40 minutes 3 times a week. Maybe it's I want to get from a prayer life that is vocal to a prayer life that is meditative. And there are all sorts of ways that one can go about doing this. And if you need some help, shoot me an email. Because chances are you're probably thinking, I don't know where to begin. That's okay. That just tells you you're probably entering the grass fields and sheep are going one way, goat are going another way, and you're probably just like, I don't know which way I need to go. But if you know that now, then next year that tells you you should not be in that place. And we owe it to ourselves because it is why we are here, to grow in relationship with Jesus, to grow in relationship with our neighbor, which opens up our heart to those who cannot clothe themselves, to the stranger, to the imprisoned, to those who are hungry. And so while we remember in this Mass all those who have gone to their eternal rest, all the souls in heaven, in purgatory, always keep in mind that one day that will be us. And this Mass will be for us one day.